My name is Muiba Wonu Folami, an indigenous of Lagos State, Ikorodu, to be specific. I was born in Lagos 86 years ago, and to the glory of God, I'm still alive and well, and trying to be a relative in the cause of women. I attended primary school. I started at Ansarudin Alakuru School. From there to CMS Girls School, and then Queen's College, Lagos. From Queen's College, I went to the Portsmouth College of Technology for my A-levels, and then University of London for my first degree in law. The same university for my master's degree in law. I had, between obtaining my master's and my first degree, I was in Nigeria to do the mandatory law school course. I was one of the last people to do a 3-month course before it was changed to 1 year. And then went back to England for my master's. And from there to lecture at the University of Zambia. Back to Nigeria, I was appointed by Dr. Taslim Elias, the CJ of Nigeria, to the Commission for Advance Notice to Lawyers of Developments in Law. It was a commission funded by the Ford Foundation to keep lawyers abreast of the developments in law. I was a director there. Then from there, I was admitted to the Federal Ministry of Justice. After being legal advisor to many ministries, I ended up as the Director of Public Prosecutions for the Federation. And after that, whilst I was the Director of DPP, I was appointed Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State. After retirement, I've been involved in social work, in religion. I've always had religion, but I spend more time on religion. I read, I watch telly, and I live a good life, to the glory of God. You see, when you begin to think that it was not until 2007 that women started to get equal pay in tennis tournaments. And it was something that was fought for. Little things like that does not add to equality. But when it was done, it may be small, but at work, even at work in employment, women are still discriminated against. And most women do 2 jobs. They look after the home, and they do the normal work that a man does in an office. Why I fail to understand this inequality in the treatment of women is that the work, the responsibilities in the workplace is not reduced for women, even though we do not want to be paid the same salary as men. It's a fight that has continued, and in that area, I think we need to do more to push for more recognition. Women have contributed immensely to the society. The men that are now resisting equal pay were brought up by women.
Exactly.
That's what I do not understand, that they can think like that. We continue to push.
But how can we speed this up?
By bringing it to the attention of world powers, recognition by every country of equal opportunities, equal pay. I want to know, I want somebody to explain to me the jobs that women cannot do.
Yeah.
They've contributed immensely. Even in the new thing, IT, we're at par with men. So I do not see the reason for it. Unfortunately, I did not experience it, because when I left university, I practiced law briefly in my uncle's chambers before I went to University of Zambia as a lecturer. There, my position was enhanced in the sense that I was a foreigner, and I got all the benefits of being a foreigner, serving in their service. Fortunately, in Nigeria today, the federal government does not discriminate in terms of salaries. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get the same salary scale, and you are promoted on equal basis. Kudos to the federal government, to Nigeria for that. But in the private sector, things are different. In some companies, this is the area that we have to work on, because the job content is the same. Some of these facilities are available in Nigeria. I learned by being a member of the Society for the Disabled that every government body must admit a certain percentage of women and of disabled people. So most times this opportunity is not taken. They are bound to employ them. We continue to push for that to be implemented in most ministries. It's important because it's there. You have to take a certain percentage of disabled people to work in government positions. It's important that we work to enforce that rule in our society. When it comes to discrimination, Nigeria is way, way ahead of some developed countries, because maybe because through slavery, we faced discrimination right from the beginning. We now know how to resist it. But in my country, Nigeria, in the federal government, in the state government, there is no discrimination. It may happen in private organizations, but they must continue to push to let them understand that the job content is the same. Well, you see, traditionally, under our culture, women are in the other room. Well, the quotation. Yeah. That's our society, that's our culture. it's going to take a long time to evolve. In my time, female education was not so-called popular. It's only the educated few that strove to send their children to school, their girl child to school. They end up trading with their mothers or going to market and getting married off early. But as education began to rise in our community, its value was seen by my parents and others of their contemporaries to educate the girl child. And I believe the society is benefiting from that. So we must continue to push for the education of women, of girls. I have thought that, when I read that, the certain state government has appointed look at our National Assembly, 4 women in the Senate. Isn't that shameful? And that is the society. We have to continue to push women up. Let these political parties know that we want women. Let us organize ourselves to continue to vote for women massively. I give kudos to our governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. His cabinet women is well represented in his cabinet. And I enjoy that, I love him for that. And I continue to urge him to do more. He's done a lot. I think Lagos State has the largest representative of women in cabinet. First of all, they have to project themselves in their office space, their workspace. Let everybody know that they are equal to the task. Let us organize. There's a lot of society groups and societies that cater for the interests of women. I believe now violence against women is reducing in the society because there are sanctions for such behavior. I must say that speaking to the organization in charge of violence against women, I was amused to learn that some men come there to complain and that they are also being violated and abused.
Yes, it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way thing. So that is reducing our society. Education of the girl child is important. We have to let the locals know that education is important. Let them showcase to them the lives of those who have been educated and who are holding high positions. I'm glad that our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has returned history to the classrooms. It's important. Let them know about people that have contributed to the development of our societies and country. It's important. Yes, it's education. It's education. Once people are educated and they know that there is nothing a man can do that a woman cannot do when it comes to the workplace. We have women engineers, miners, and also all over. Give me a job specific that a woman cannot do, then I'll change my views. So the moment you begin to upgrade education, let government now continue to vote more for education. I don't believe we are doing enough. There is a UN convention, and I think Nigeria is part of that convention, that a certain amount of a nation's income should be devoted to education. I'm not sure whether Nigeria is complying with that. But some states are better than others. And we must, education, I believe in education of the girl child. Some states now are taking children, girls off the street. Walking is completely prohibited. Things like that will help. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we are not advanced enough to use our votes to change things. We are still not voting for individuals. We are voting for parties, irrespective of performance. Education will help. And when we join other nations for the same purpose, we get results. Our organizations who are fighting for women in Nigeria should join worldwide organizations to showcase our own situation and learn. I believe that when you talk to others, you come back with ideas on how to improve things. So we must improve things by telling women in positions to show, to continue to prove that they are more than up to the task. It will not come to us on a platter of gold. We must show by our actions and behavior that we are up to the task. Of course, some women are wrong in claiming equal rights to their husbands in the house. I completely abhor that behavior. Even though they are husband and wife, the man in my culture remains the head. He should be respected. His views should be respected. It's only now the condition of living is so high that you join the two incomes together to run the house. In the past, it was the men that ran the house to pay for everything. Maybe some of these women are thinking that because they are contributing a quota to the development, that they have equal rights. Yes, they have equal rights on the upbringing of the children in their homes and everything. But respect is important. That will keep the home, and the children will learn and imbibe it into their own children too. Equal rights does not, in my view, mean that you can be rude, can not submit to your husband's wishes. Equal rights means something differently. Respect comes out of it. It's important. I go out and I'm like appalled at the way women dress. There's a competition to show as much of your body, to produce as much of your body that you can. It's absolutely disgusting. They're not women. They're no longer women. The exposure, things that if you did in my time, a member of the community will cover you with a cloth and send you home. Because community mattered at that time. You dare not misbehave outside your compound because this community is watching you and reprimanding you if you go wrong, if you behave badly outside. That is lost. And that is why you see people, even their dressing, show disrespect to womanhood and to themselves and to the community. We must teach our children etiquette of dressing, speech, how to think and speak in a decent manner. We don't have it anymore. We're losing it, and it's shameful because people are appreciating naked women on the streets. Both sides. If people dress badly and you tell them and ignore them, they won't try the next time. For instance, I believe nobody can dress to come to my house or to come to my party like a naked woman. I will turn her back. I will turn her back. So that's the type of thing that we should all do. Let the people doing this know that we do not appreciate things like this. When the society itself corrects it, we must correct it individually. We should, if their parents cannot correct it, we must, by ignoring them and not allowing them to come near us. Show our women that have contributed to the society.
Yeah.
Show them, showcase them, showcase them.
Yeah.
We have the first woman senior advocate of Nigeria. We have Okonjo. We have,
yeah.
in the UN. We have all sorts. We have, what's this one? Pharmaceutical woman. She's done so much. The younger ones are there. Little ones like Shadi Okoya is managing her husband's company and doing well. Let's encourage them. They are young. The young ones, they are working to improve the society. There's so many of them out there. We should showcase them. Let them know that we have women who are of top quality, intelligent, and well-behaved, and they dress well. Dressing well is dressing in a manner that is appealing to the eyes, not nakedness. That's my darling, this new CJN of Nigeria.
Okay.
Who do that? I did talk about Kekere. I mean, we're there. Female CJN.
Yeah.
And there are so many female chief judges all over the Federation. There are so many in the medical profession, in the engineering profession. We have pilots. So let them know that there is nothing that a woman cannot do. In IT, in everything, women are moving forward. We should showcase them. We should let their pictures be seen in our newspapers, in our news, in everything, to encourage young girls that you too can get there. If they don't see and if they don't know the history of these women, how they got there, they too will not be inspired. We have to inspire the young people with the achievements of women achievers. Kekere rose from magistrate to right to the top. I admire her. She's well composed, well behaved, some of these people, when they become something, they lose their heads. They start with, no, she's so respectful, well behaved, well dressed. I don't think she would allow herself or her children to come out naked. Never. So people like that, Okonjo-Iweala are the same. We have a lot.
Palm oil has long been a vital component of Nigeria's agricultural heritage, with roots tracing back to pre-colonial times. Originally serving local needs, its importance has grown exponentially, propelling Nigeria into a prominent global producer. Spread across regions like Edo, Delta, Cross River and Ondo states, the country boasts extensive plantations and advanced processing capabilities. It takes about 4 years for oil palms to produce fruit suitable for harvest. Each tree will then continue to produce fruit for up to 30 years, at which point they will have grown to around 40 feet tall. According to reports, Nigeria's palm oil production increased to 1.4 million metric tons in 2023, witnessing steady growth since 2009, with a peak surge in 2010. Despite a surge in domestic consumption, reaching 1.8 million metric tons in the 2021-2022 crop year, Nigeria still imports 350,000 metric tons, primarily from China and Malaysia. Similarly, some of the challenges plaguing the sector include declined production, outdated equipment, and insufficient financing, resulting in a notable production deficit. To address these challenges, government intervention is imperative, necessitating increased funding, favorable policies, and enhanced environmental protection measures. Furthermore, Nigeria and other African countries must move away from the local way of producing palm oil to a more mechanized method for effective and efficient production. Additionally, fostering collaborations among farmers, processors, marketers or consumers, and equipment fabricators is vital for sustainable production and value chain development. Israel Adeyemi, SOUQ News.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa. At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekbetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State, on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with the Daily Service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as executive governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakande, SOUQ Enlightenment.
Hello and welcome to World News on SOUQ News Television. We're reaching you live from our studios in Lagos. I am Olumide Shokoya. First, the headlines. President Tinubu approves new tertiary institutions in the southeast. House of Representatives probe alleged diversion of 1.2 trillion naira in Anchor Borrowers Fund. Dangote refinery expands reach to first gasoline exports to Asia. And on the foreign scene, China expands digital yuan push to challenge dollar dominance. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has signed into law 3 bills for the establishment of a new federal tertiary institutions in the southeast. The institutions include College of Education in Bende Yaba State, the Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences in Item, also in Abia, and the Federal University of Kigwe in Imo State. Senate President Godswill Akpabio applauded the move, describing it as a major step forward towards bridging educational gap and addressing long-standing concerns of marginalization in the region. He also commended lawmakers, including Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and Senators Oyekachi Nwebunyi and Sita Nwagu and Patrick Ndwebeze, for sponsoring and supporting the bills. Akpabio urged the Southeast to align with the administration's renewed hope agenda, noting that continued cooperation would bring more development to the zone. Now 17 nominees appointed by President Bola Tinubu to keep commissions in Rivers State have declared their asset before the Code of Conduct Bureau as part of the screening process. The nominees drawn from the State Independent Electoral Commission, Civil Service Commission, and Local Government Service Commission had earlier received security clearances from both Department of State Services and the Nigerian Police. Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele revealed this during a screening session conducted by the Senate Ad hoc Committee with the same Rivers State sole administrator. 5 candidates are nominated for the Civil Service Commission, 7 for the Electoral Commission, and another 7 for Local Government Service Commission. The nominees were introduced into the committee by the Special President's Advisor on Senate Matters, Bashir Lado. Senator Bamidele emphasized that no petitions were filed against any of the nominees and that their compliance with their asset declaration and security checks strengthens the Senate's commitment to due process. Screening for Rivers State Primary Healthcare Management Board is scheduled to follow. Recommendations from the committee will be forwarded to the Senate leadership for confirmation. The House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security has launched an investigation into the alleged diversion of 1.12 trillion naira allocated to the Anchors Borrowers Program by various ministries, departments, and agencies. The probe also extends to the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending microfinance bank, which reportedly disbursed 250 billion naira to agribusinesses, and the Bank of Industry over its management of 3 billion naira allocated to over 22,000 smallholder farmers through agricultural value chain financing scheme. Committee Chairman Chike Okafor said only 9 out of the 24 financial institutions said to have participated in the program have provided evidence of fund disbursements. The investigation, according to Okafor, is part of a broader effort to ensure food security and proper utilization of agricultural funds. At the hearing, representatives of the Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending Microfinance Bank, Charles Bassey, said insecurity, flooding, and drought had affected repayment by beneficiaries, with some requesting loan restructuring. Also speaking, Sterling Bank's head of agricultural finance, Olushola Bikai, said the bank had fully repatriated 113.4 billion naira to the Central Bank of Nigeria and held no outstanding debt under the scheme. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has placed temporary restrictions on dividends and bonus payments by a select group of banks still recovering from the coronavirus pandemic. The measure is part of an ongoing reforms aimed at strengthening the capital base of these institutions and ensuring stability of Nigeria's financial system. The Central Bank of Nigeria says affected banks are those that received support during the pandemic and are yet to fully meet updated capital requirements. The acting director of corporate communications, Mrs. Hakima Sidi Ali, explained that the move is not a sign of financial instability, but a standard regulatory approach used globally to help banks recover post-crisis. She noted that restrictions will help the banks to retain more earnings and improve their capital adequacy. While most banks have complied with or are on track to meet the new standard ahead of the 2026 deadline, the Central Bank of Nigeria says it will continue working closely with affected institutions to ensure compliance without disrupting banking services. The central bank also reassured Nigerians that the banking sector remains sound, describing the action as a proactive step to support long-term economic goals. Now, a 90,000 metric tons cargo of gasoline from Nigeria's Dangote refinery is heading to Asia. The first time fuel from the facility will be sold outside the West African region. Since the refinery began gasoline exports last year, cargoes have remained within West Africa. But according to a source familiar with the deal, global commodity trader Mercuria is scheduled to load the shipment on June 22nd. A Dangote spokesperson said products are sold to the highest bidder and buyers are free to ship to any destination. Analysts say the move signals growing global relevance and stability in the refinery's operation. It could also mark a turning point in Nigeria's fuel export strategy as the country positions itself as a major player in the global motor fuel market. Let's take a short break, and when we return, we'll bring you more business stories from across Africa.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Bogaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News, keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
Welcome back. Now, the African Development Bank has thrown its weight behind Ghana's 24-hour economy initiative, describing it as a visionary approach to accelerating national growth. Speaking at a news conference in Accra, African Development Bank Vice President for Private Sector Infrastructure and Industrialization, Solomon Quainer, said the bank is ready to support key areas, including infrastructure, industrial park development, and financing downstream operations. Quainer identified the Voter Economic Corridor as a prime opportunity for growth in manufacturing and textile. He added that the African Development Bank is working with various partners to unlock private sector investment and mobilize domestic capital, especially from Ghana's $5.2 billion United States dollar pension fund. The bank is also engaging key government institutions to drive infrastructure projects under the Big Push agenda and support Ghana's digital transformation goals. According to Quainer, the African Development Bank's mission to Ghana is not just exploratory, but aimed at forming concrete partnerships to deliver tangible results for the country. Now, Namibia's central bank has left its key interest rate unchanged at 6.75%, maintaining the rate for the second consecutive meeting. The bank, says decisions is aimed at safeguarding Namibia's dollar's peg to South Africa's rand, especially as global uncertainties such as conflict in the Middle East and trade policy shifts threatens economic stability. Although South Africa recently cut its rate, Namibia opted to maintain a smaller rate gap to prevent capital outflows. The country's foreign reserves remain strong, covering 3.7 months of import. The bank expects a slight economic growth boost to 3.8% in 2025 and has revised inflation forecast downwards due to stable price and a stronger exchange rate. Now, Egypt's Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources, Anemi Willam, is urging greater collaborations among the Nile Basin nations to adopt integrated strategies for managing water, food, energy, and ecosystem. Speaking at the climate financing workshop for Mediterranean countries, Sir William emphasized the Arab region's critical water scarcity, with 19 out of 22 countries facing shortages and 90% of the population underwater stress. Egypt in particular depends almost entirely on Nile River for 97% of its water needs to tackle the growing crisis. Egypt is shifting towards second-generation irrigation system 2.0, which incorporates satellite imaging, drone technology, and smart irrigation to boost efficiency. The country is also modernizing key water infrastructure like High Dam, expanding the reuse of agricultural drainage water, and using eco-friendly methods to restore canals and protect coastal lines. Now, Morocco is taking steps to review its trade deal with Turkey concerns grows over a rising trade deficit. Officials say Moroccan Trade Minister Omar Gira will soon visit Turkey to push increased Turkish investment and negotiate changes to balance the $3 billion United States dollar gap, mostly driven by Turkish fabric imports. Though tariffs were introduced 5 years ago to protect local manufacturers, Turkish textiles continue to dominate the market. Morocco's overall trade deficit has also widened significantly this year, with Turkey now in its third biggest trade source after the United States and China. Sub-Saharan Africa's economy is projected to grow by 3.7% in 2025, rising to an average of 4.2% by 2027. That, according to the latest Global Economic Prospect Report by the World Bank, the region is expected to show stronger performance than most emerging markets, but growth will still fall short of levels needed to tackle extreme poverty. The World Bank says global uncertainties, trade tensions, and weakening investor confidence are dragging down forecasts. It also notes that high debt levels and borrowing costs will continue to limit domestic demand. Despite that, gradual interest rate cuts across the region could support private investment and consumption, offering some relief for struggling economies. We'll take another short break. More global business and policy updates after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development is facing its most significant staff cut in history as global donor support declines. Secretary General Rebecca Griston says 70 positions are said to be eliminated from the agency's 2026 budget, a move she describes as painful but necessary amid broader United Nations reforms and shrinking contributions, especially from 3 United States. The cutbacks come at a time when demand for the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Services is rising, with many developing countries seeking guidance on global trade disruptions. A final decision on the budget will be taken by the United Nations Secretariat and member states in September. Now, China is intensifying efforts to reduce global dependence on the United States dollar by promoting broader international use of its digital yuan. Speaking at the Lujiazhi Forum in Shanghai, the governor of China's central bank, Pan Gengsheng, announced plans to establish an international operations center for China's digital yuan and called for a multipolar global currency system. He said such a system would increase global financial stability and reduce the risk tied to relying heavily on a single sovereign currency. This comes as global investors increasingly explore alternatives to dollar-based investments due to growing trade tensions and unilateral tariffs moves by Washington. 6 foreign banks, including Standard Bank and First Bank Abu Dhabi Bank, have now agreed to adopt China's yuan-based global settlement platform. Pan also warned that traditional cross-border payment systems are vulnerable to geopolitical manipulation, positioning the digital yuan as a more secure and efficient alternative. Meanwhile, China's foreign exchange and financial regulators reassured international investors of a stable exchange rate, improved volatility controls, and further opening of China's financial market to the foreign players. British inflation eased 3.4% in May, aligning with expectations from the Bank of England. However, rising global energy prices driven by renewed conflict in the Middle East may delay any potential rate cut. The central bank is expected to hold interest rates steady with this week as it weighs ongoing volatility in oil markets. Services inflation also dropped to 4.7%, providing some relief, while food prices saw their biggest annual rise in over a year at 4.4%, straining low-income households. Although some bank officials welcomed the drop in core inflations, now under 4% for the first time since February 2022, others warn that persistent price pressures may still impact long-term consumer behavior. Markets are betting on no rate exchange this week, but the two cuts are still expected by the year-end, depending on how global events unfold. Moving on, President Donald Trump will sign an executive order this week to extend the deadline for TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance, to sell the video sharing app to American investors. The White House has confirmed the move marks the third time Trump is extending the deadline aimed at preventing TikTok from going dark in the United States, while negotiations continue. A previous attempt to sell the app collapsed after China pulled out following a new round of U.S. tariffs. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the new 90-day extension will allow administrations time to secure a deal that protects user data. Trump expressed confidence that Chinese President Xi Jinping would eventually approve the deal, adding that he has a warm spot for TikTok, a platform where he has over 15 million followers and growing popularity among younger voters. And that's a wrap on world news for today. For more updates, follow us across all social media platforms at SOUQ News Television. I am Olumide Shokoya. Thank you for watching and do have a wonderful day.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekpetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos.
When you visit Lagos for the first time and Google fun or recreational places in the city, at the top of that list will be Freedom Park. Located in Lagos Island on Broad Street, Freedom Park over the years has become home to the Nigerian arts and the culture at large. From annual big shows like the Lagos Theatre Festival, celebration at the Lagos Poetry Festival, to local festivals that celebrate literature, music and arts. Freedom Park is one of the most visited recreational sites in Lagos, for both local and tourist people alike. A place to mingle, unwind, or simply just have fun. Freedom Park, however, hasn't always been a place of fun and games. It has a history that dates to 1861, when Lagos was made a British colony. In 1885, Freedom Park was built as a fortified prison from imported bricks. It was referred to as Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison. Some prominent political prisoners were held in the prison, people such as Herbert Macaulay, Michael Imodu, and Obafemi Awolowo. In 1979, Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison was destroyed, reduced to a dumping ground. It was later rebuilt in the 1990s, celebrated in 2010, Nigeria's 50th Independence Day. Freedom Park still holds a bit of its history within its walls. In the museum, where there are pictures and artifacts, some of the old prison facilities have been converted into leisure facilities that people visit and enjoy today.
Hello and welcome to SOUQ Pulse. It's nice being here, knowing fully well that you are on the other side and being part of this conversation. It's always a great delight. We're gradually getting into the rainy season. To me, I see production. To me, I see a whole lot of farming activity that should start. I see Africa rising. I see birth. I see new green crops, grass, productive ones, all the same. It's all about goodness. It's all about productivity. And I say thank you. For everyone that has been part of this production, watching, producing, we say thank you. And for everyone that has taken key, called, reached out, or pushed our comments, pushed our narrative across, we also say thank you. And for every African country that is standing up and getting counted, being part of this race, we also say thank you. It's SOUQ Pulse. My name is SOUQ, John Rogers SOUQ. By now, you know what we are all about. To say, do not keep quiet. Keep the conversation going. Good, bad, keep it going. We're going to dive straight into what we have for today. And I am still blessed, and I am still privileged. I am still that same person that say with all my heart, like they say it in Nigeria, with my full chest. We still have Dr. Idahosa in our midst. Sir, you're welcome.
Just good evening.
Yes. Today, I needed to introduce you first before we say what we're talking about.
You know, when you were just talking about production, something was just ringing in my head, and this rainy season of production. Mm-hmm. Please tell Africa we don't want to produce more children. We want more food and more wealth, and I think that will be a better thing to produce than producing children in this very trying and terrible time for Africa.
Okay, this, like he said this is rainy season, and for those that are busy trying to tell us weather for two, there is nothing called weather for two. It's called weather for production. So get busy, get creative, get productive. Along the line, if the kids come, to God be the glory, but make sure that there are enough things on ground to take care of you, the kids, and future generations that are coming. Today on SOUQ Pulse, I needed to introduce him first. before I drop what we're talking about, so that he wouldn't get to change his mind along the line. So, sir, you're welcome to SOUQ Pulse.
Oh, my pleasure to be here, Chicks.
Yes, it's nice. Yeah, today we are looking at that same weather, but now let's bring it back. We are looking at population, the population of Africa, African countries. We're looking at land mass. How big is your state, your local government, your country? And now we are bringing it and looking at versus productivity. And we are asking this direct question. Why are we having a negative correlation when it comes to size of the people, number of people in local government, in states, in countries, and the amount of land mass in these different countries, in these different states, and productivity? And when we say this, people will just think about agri. It's not all about agri. There are different levels of productivity, different levels of manufacturing. Why are we having a larger population, larger land mass, and low productivity, dwindling productivity? Why? These are things we are going to look at today, and we are asking ourselves, why this negative correlation? Before we go, let me just read out this. For those that are not too sure, there is a particular country in the West. It's called Denmark. Their population is 5,964,000. I'll say it again, 5,964,000. Their land mass, that's total land mass, 42.952 kilometers. 42,952 kilometers square. Now their GDP for 2022 is 400.2 billion. Now let me break it down for you. There's a state in Nigeria called Niger State. Niger State, land mass-wise, is almost twice Denmark. Let's leave GDP. Now let's come back to our topic. Sir, why are we not that productive? Why are we not productive in Africa? Why do we have negative correlation between our population, the land mass we've been blessed with, and productivity? Why?
Well, I think the fundamental challenge to answer the why question is the education system in Africa, whether it's a traditional system of getting people to know something, somehow, somewhat has been faulty over a very long period of time. That's one part. And there's also these aspirations that are not also backed by serious efforts, where you find a situation where people want good life and they don't want to invest so much in really realizing that good life. Now, a combination of all these come together to pose the challenge of to productivity in most African states. Now, when you look at education side of it, you are seeing that people have not been really trained, so much so that we don't even know how to create wealth or where wealth lies. So it's that financial literacy that's also missing hugely in Africa. So we don't know how to get people to begin to create wealth and sustain such wealth creation. So for me, is that mixture. We also have the problem about parenting, which also is for me a fundamental issue. I was speaking somewhere on Saturday, and I was telling them one of the big challenges when you talk about the empowerment of women, for example, is the problem that most women had been conditioned, maybe by stereotype, to believe that a man must have to take care of them. And that kind of socialization has a very huge implication for productivity. And you also see parents today who feels that, oh, I don't want my children to suffer. And because they think that work is suffering, and this is also fundamentally wrong. And so we feel that there's a way we can educate our children to a point that they will not need to work, and they will have things working for them. So these are the kind of misconception that we see in our environment that's actually responsible for this lack of productivity, as it were.
Okay. If this were to be a debate, I think we'll just ring the bell and give you the prize. But as it stands right now, we still need to hear from every other person. Now, you've talked about education, you've talked about people wanting the good life and not willing to invest in it. You've talked about financial literacy, you've talked about parenting, you've talked about a segment having that notion that women are not supposed to work. Okay. Now, all these are we going to call them ills in the society? Okay. Now, some parts of people outside Africa too also have this kind of mindset, but I don't think they are in the majority. Now, let's start bringing this back home. Let's start with Nigeria. We like using Nigeria as an excuse. As an example, not just an excuse. Now, Nigeria's state gets SOUQ allocation every month.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the state, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how much you are contributing to the center, whether you are or you're not. Now, at the end of every month, people get money. At the end of every year, those states generate and put down a budget to spend. Is this not, for the case of Nigeria, is this not also issues that is making them unproductive? Because they can't have this big population and there is nothing being churned out.
I see it everywhere. It's a accumulation of the productivity of individual citizens that translates into national wealth.
Accumulation of productivity of individual citizens
of the state is what accumulates into national wealth.
Okay, now, for a country, let's say Lagos State now, where we are looking at over 18 million people.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is the fact that if these 18 million people were to put their hands on the plow,
if these 18 million people are to put their hands
on the plow,
okay,
the GDP of Lagos will be larger than that of Denmark.
Okay, now for those that are wondering, Denmark population is 5.96 million, which means Lagos is three times the population of Denmark. 3 times the population of Denmark.
You just check, for example, with Denmark. Cheese alone. Cheese. Denmark is supplying Europe and America over 67% of cheese made from cow.
Okay, cheese alone.
Cheese alone.
Okay.
And you are looking at milk.
Okay.
You don't look at beef. You're looking. This is just from dairy products alone.
Let's always put this in perspective, because when we say this, it's easy for us to excuse ourselves. Now, this is coming from 5.964 million people.
Oh, yes.
Good. Generating 400 billion GDP in 2022, which means they will do more than that in 2023 and 2024. Now, what is 18 million people doing? You, me, in Lagos, what are we doing? Before now start talking about those in other states that we don't even know if they're sleeping or not.
You know, but you just imagine it. One cow weighing up to about 900 kilograms in a Denmark farm. And you can see the quantum of milk that is generated, that they are selling across Europe and across the Americans. And all this is what is totaling into what you're looking at as this 400 and something billion US dollar GDP. So if everybody in Lagos, for example,
18-point-something million.
Yes. No, now that's conservative, because the last population census that Lagos did in 2006, they actually said that the population of Lagos was 20 million.
Okay. Now, we are being conservative. So people say you are counting more. Everybody, 18-point-something million.
Yeah, that's what it is, because we are not productive. Now, you go around Lagos today, and what are you going to see? You see a whole lot of people, an army of young people. Some are begging.
Army of young people, army of people. Let's not excuse anybody.
Yeah, but it's not about excusing anybody, because if you look at our population today, if you take the data from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the average population in Nigeria is 17.5 years old.
Okay.
So which means the population of Nigeria is actually skewed toward an army of young people who, when harnessed and made productive, that Nigeria can be better than what it is today. But the unfortunate thing is that this factor that we have highlighted earlier on, which is the fact that people feel that there's a way to have a good life without work.
Without paying for it.
Yeah, you know, if you remember Gandhi's 7 social sin, wealth without work.
Wealth without industry.
Wealth without work, yeah, that's what it is. So that's a social sin. So when you look at it, you see this is the real fundamental thing that is affecting us. Now, people are saying, oh, there's no work, there's no work, there's no work. But whereas there is so much work everywhere, but the ability of people to be able to actually see what this work is. You know, I was saying to somebody yesterday when we were talking about issues of high cost of things around the nation. And I said the real reason why we are feeling it hard is because a whole lot of people are not productive. Because if majority of the people are productive, what it means is that if I am buying electricity at 225 naira, that 225 naira is an input into what I'm producing. So I increase the price to reflect the tariff rate. And the person that I'm also going to take another factor from increases his price. So on the whole, everybody benefits and we reach a new level of equilibrium. But because a whole lot of people are not productive, and we're investing in areas where there's no productivity, which of course is what state government has turned palliative to, which for me is the greatest tool for laziness, we see that there's this imbalance between the rising costs and the ability for people to survive. So if you want to deal with the issue, we have to get every hand on deck working. And there is so much we can do. Like you said, not just farm alone. Lagos is very dirty. We need a whole lot of people who will operate in that sector.
Who will get creative and get something to
do. To take and convert waste to wealth.
Get the place clean first before you now start converting it.
No. Because in the process of cleaning, you're actually gathering wet. Because whatever is clean from the city can be converted
to something.
To something
that people can pay for.
Can pay for. This is what I'm saying.
Okay. Now let's look at it from this other angle. Now we have this same Lagos that is over 18 million people. You say 20 point something million people, with an internally generated revenue IGR of 1.011. That was our same year, 2022. Now, for 18 million plus. Now we will say that is poor, because we have less people actively engaged in production. Now, let's also look at some other states. We have states like Kebbi with an internally generated revenue of 10.1 billion and a population of well over 3 million people. At what point in time should we start looking at ourselves and ask ourselves some direct questions? Is something wrong with us? Why are we blessed with all this population? Why are we blessed with all this land? What are we doing with it? What can we show for it?
Well, I think a lot is wrong with us, and there's no doubt about that God has blessed you with so much, where you talk about it from nature, weather, you're talking about from land, you're talking about from water resources, you're talking about from mineral that is in the soil. So God has given us a whole lot. Now, all these things are lying in potential. And until these things are converted actively. You know, like Newton says, everything is perpetually in a state of rest or a state of motion until a force is applied.
Force of inertia.
Yeah. So if there's no force that's applied, the thing keep rolling remain.
On this issue, what force needs to be applied?
Yeah. Now, what force that we need to apply is to first and foremost educate Nigerians. Let me speak about Nigerians.
Education will take time.
No, it doesn't take time. I'm not talking about in terms of going to school to go and spend 5 years or 6 years and graduate. That's not the point I'm making. I'm talking about the sensitization.
Okay.
That wealth comes with hard work. And that this is not provided by government.
It's not the responsibility
of government. It's not the responsibility of government to provide wealth.
To put food on your table.
No. So that's your own responsibility. So what we do and what government is doing really, and that's the function of government, is to regulate economic activities within states. So the idea of governance for us in Africa is what is problematic. That people think that it is a function of government to make provisions for people. No, that's not government's function. What government does is provide basic amenities to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And that comes in the form of laws that regulate practices, and sometimes you also see them in the form of social interventions.
Maybe infrastructure.
In building schools. Now, it is the productivity of the individual that puts resources in the hand of government to provide basic infrastructure.
The productivity of
individuals, yeah.
Put money in the hand
of government to build world-class infrastructure. So if we are not productive, we can't get money to give to government in form of tax, in form of tariffs, then government will not have money to give you infrastructure.
Okay. Now, for this particular case, now let's start from here. Who are we going to hold responsible? Are we holding me responsible? Are we holding the guy we elected from my local government? Are we holding the one we sent to the state? Or are we holding the president? As it is right now, my state is not productive. Your state is not productive. With this population, with this landmass, who are we holding responsible now?
We are responsible for our predicaments.
Who is we?
Me and you.
The last I checked, I was not in the picture. I was not in the picture.
It's me and you that's responsible for this. And if me and you do things right, we will be able. You know, somebody once told me a story, and he said, you see, you get to Japan, you see, people worship employment as their God because it is what serve or put food in their table. Now, when you look at our approach to work here, I was talking with somebody the other day, and he said, oh, you see, there are a whole lot of ministries that are out there, and people come at the end of the month, they collect salary, and they disappear. Because there's no work involved.
Because there's no work involved, then the source where that salary has been coming from, are they not aware that this is happening?
Yeah, but people are aware.
Good. So why do they keep it going? The source where the money is coming from, where those salaries are being paid to those local government, to those government agencies, they see this happen month on month, year on year, yet it persists.
Because it is incentivized as politics underlie some of all these factors. So, I have said it time without number here. As long as we are concerned about the next election and not the next generation, that force, that inertia we're talking about, cannot propel or stop this, our
downward trajectory. Okay.
To the place of slavery or destruction if I want to put it that way.
Okay. Now let's go down to, now we've looked at our population. Let's look at the land mass. Now, if you travel in some African states or some African countries, you get to some plain lands. You will be here and you'll be looking at to where your eye can see. The only thing you see is maybe trees for if you're in the savannah, or maybe rainforest if you're closer to the coast or the rainy side of the place. But so in most of these places, you will not see those lands being put in active use, in productive use. At what point should we start telling ourselves, people, wake up? This is a resources, not just what is underneath the ground, what the ground itself that you're seeing. Why are Africans not taking opportunity and getting those lands busy?
Yeah, but in terms of also speaking to both the population of Nigeria and the size of the land, it's also important for us to be able to correlate what has happened in the last over 60 years till today. Take, for example, by comparison, the population of United Kingdom at the point they were giving us independence was about 55 million people. And Nigeria was about a little fraction over 45 million people. Now, in 60 years, the population of the United Kingdom had risen to about 65 billion people. And Nigeria had moved from 46 or 45.6 million people. Now, by estimate, some people say 214, some people say 216, some people say 220, depending on which figure you are using. But let's say 200 million people. Now, you see that why the most important factor of production, which is land, had remained the same at 900,000 square kilometers, the population had been growing in geometric proportion. Now, what this means also is that the land tenure system in Nigeria is also a very fundamental issue that we must also look into.
But the land is still there. It's not being farmed.
No.
Majority of it is not being farmed.
No.
It's just bare the way it is.
No, you have to understand how this works.
Which exactly?
Yes, the example work. You see, there are a few states that has the example of land. From where I come from, if you go to my village now, most of my if we were to go home now to say I want to go and farm, I can't find a farmland. And that is because...
What about the neighboring community?
Yes, of course. People are also in the neighboring community. That's what I'm talking about.
They will have somebody...
So take, for example, in my state, that is a door that is landlocked.
Okay.
Really getting access to land is difficult. And that is because...
is this like an issue or an excuse?
It's not. It's an issue.
But what about those lands that are not being farmed?
That is the point I want to tell you. Some state actors actually assigned some of those empty land that you are seeing to some individual who had been given right over that land for a period of 99 years and with documents.
Okay. Now, let's leave your state and move to where we have the population, where we have the land. Population on paper. Now, if you travel from Niger State happens to be one of the biggest states in Nigeria.
About 79,000 square kilometers.
Now, if you travel from Niger State all the way to Kaduna, to Kebbi, to Gombe, down to Taraba, down to the east, you will see lands that are bigger than countries. No farm activity happening there. Are they also having the same issue?
Yeah, but that is what we need to check out.
Okay. Now, before we check this out, we'll go on a break. When we return, SOUQ Pulse will be right back. And hey, we'll go higher than where we started. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to SOUQ Pulse. For those just joining us, we are here live on SOUQ News, all about positive programming. And we are discussing population and landmass against versus, whichever word you choose, productivity. And we're asking ourselves, why are we having negative correlation in Africa? We have Dr. Idahosa in the studio, and he's been giving us great insight on this. We've been going this way, going that way, a little bit in the middle too. But hey, we're talking about landmass. We're looking up north. And they have the population on paper, and they also have the land size. Now we're asking, apart from it's not just agriculture, there are other productive endeavors. Why are Nigerians not getting into them? The number of people are there, the land is there. So no matter what we are signing or who we are moving the land to, or 90 years or whatever, this is there. Okay, people will say security, okay. What is the reason? Because if we are looking for an excuse, the excuse is always going to be there. What is stopping us from getting productive with these numbers, with the land mass?
Yeah, I don't know how to restate this fact over and over. For people to be productive, there's a correlation between the level of education and productivity.
Okay, if we say level of education and productivity, growing up, I lived amongst elderly people. And now a lot of them were not, if we say formal education, but they were very productive, very, very productive, and they were doing very well. A lot of them were very elderly people who had very large farms. And they had both the young people from other communities come and work in those farms. And they made sure their children also worked in those farms. Now I don't know what it looks like. What and why are we losing this kind of culture? Because at that particular point in time, food was not the problem.
You see, because our educational system was not documented or written with chalk on the board, doesn't mean that we had no education. My father taught me how to farm, how to plant a yard, how to position seedlings on the ground so that you will be able to direct the stock when it grows out. He taught me how to build a farmhouse. All these were practical, driven lessons. Just as Joseph taught Jesus how to nail wood, my father taught me how to farm. That is education.
Okay, I agree.
Now,
have you passed it across to?
This is the issue. So have I passed it across to my children? That's really fundamental. I don't think they even know what pharmaceutical means. So that's why I said to you earlier that the fact that we were thinking that by sending our children to the white man's school was a free ticket to good life is the biggest scam that African has experienced.
Okay, now let's move away from this biggest scam. Our time is running so fast. Who should be driving this change?
I think it should happen at different levels. In Europe, it was the Christian church that drove it. And that's what Max Weber chronicled as what he called the Protestant ethics, which were the values that the church, basically in Germany, Geneva, England, were propagating, was the value of work. That by working, we were joining with God in his creative activity and endeavor. And that dignity comes with work. So these values were being propagated by the church. And they were very, very hard in terms of his teaching that if a man will not walk, and that man should not eat, and if he eats, then he's a thief. And if he's a thief, he will not go to heaven. Now, people were struggling to get to heaven, and therefore there was a craze and drive for work. And that was why when Max Weber in that his thesis compared the Roman Catholic culture and the Protestant culture, he saw that it was this ethic that men like Zwingli, men like John Calvin were preaching in Europe was the greatest driver of the Industrial Revolution. So you see, in that place, this was a civil society organization. Now, when you look at the way we are doing today in our environment, you see huge religious leaders, all of them focusing that government is not doing well. That all this army of young people, government need to make provision for them. And therefore, you have this entitlement mentality of an average young person that it is because government is bad, that is why I don't have a job. So this is where you have to look at it. So the conversation is not going to happen only at the level of government alone. It must also happen at the level of civil society organizations, like the religious organization, to emphasize the importance of work and hard work at that matter.
Emphasize the hard work, emphasize
the importance of
work and hard work. Now, when you were giving those examples, something came to my mind. I almost smiled, and I said, no, this is not going to be a good smile. It's going to be a wicked one. Now, if at a particular point in time, history, there was this preaching that never stopped and kept pushing a generation to get to work, to get industrialized, to put themselves, their mind, spirit, and body into work and get it done. Yeah. But right now, we are having a different kind of doctrine that is telling you to pray and a miracle will happen tomorrow. Now, we are still waiting for the research to see where that is going to come out from.
No, there's no need to research. We know where we are.
We are not going there. We're not going there.
No, we know where we are. We don't even know to do a research. See, the importance of religion to civilization cannot be overemphasized. Now, how do you know that a religion is strong? When you look at what's happening in China today, you see the religious factor around it. When you go to what is happening in Japan today, you see the religious factor around it. When you see what is happening in Europe today, you see the religious factor around it. This is massive. Very massive. And we must learn to know that what God wants us to preach is his value, not the psyche.
Okay. Let me ask this question. Now we have population, we have land. On paper, we have states whose population is very, very high. Now, also, we have, what's it called? We have allocations being given based on paper population. Can we have a system whereby allocation is given based on productivity? Because if this continues, all we have is politics of numbers, politics of census, politics of every other thing that is not profitable to the center, that is not profitable to the nation, not profitable to anybody. Can we start saying, if your state is not producing, your allocation cannot be high? Allocation based on internally generated revenue.
Yeah, I think it is the mistake of those who design our curriculum, that's actually the biggest challenge we face. And our craze for paper qualification has not also helped matter. And that's why you are hearing all manners of conversation. And people say, oh, your president is not a graduate. We have graduates who cannot think. We have graduates who cannot even write name. Should that really become the critical requirement for getting something done? I have a friend in the UAE, and he was saying he was looking for a job all throughout his job. Nobody ever asked him which university you graduated from or what class of degree that you hold. You come to the place and say, which job did you apply for? You say, oh, you apply for ICT networking. And then they give you a system and say, go and network. So you do the job, and then they see that they can do it, and then they can start to negotiate, and at documentation, they ask you to bring in your certificate. But it's not the principal criteria for determining whether you are going to get a job. What is going to deliver the job to you is the fact that you have a hands-on experience. So what did you study in school? Accounting. What we need somebody who is going to be a management accountant for our company. That's what you're applying for. Nobody is asking whether I have a PhD in accounts or accounting. And then you go ahead and demonstrate to us how management accounting work. And that will be the ultimate determiner whether you get a job or not. So this is where really the emphasis need to go back to, which is the apprenticeship culture of Africa. So we learn under somebody, and we are not released until we are certified to have known the job. Now, if our education system is not designed in that way, then we have a lot of problems. Because the way the education system is running today is your ability to cram and memorize the notes that is given to you, and then regurgitate it at exams that determine whether you have a first class or a second class. And therefore, you may have a first class, and when that particular course you studied and you had a first class in, and we are going to have interaction on it, you may have really little or no idea. You could state the Newton law, but putting it to work become difficult. So this is where we need to make education functional. And that is the only way we can drive productivity. Take, for example, a lot of people get into the School of Agric in Nigeria, not by design that they want to become a player in the value chain of agriculture, but maybe because fate had not given them a space in the regular university because of a cutoff point and the rest of them. And then they find themselves in the School of Agric. And then they graduate from the School of Agric, and with their certificate, they are looking for a job in the banks.
There's no agriculture in them. Now, let's also go to some good numbers, then compare it down this way. Now, Holland, if we look at their land size, is 41,850 kilometers square. Belgium, 30,688 kilometers square. Switzerland, 41,285 kilometers square. Now, for these three countries, if we take Holland and Belgium and put it together, land size-wise, Niger State is bigger than it. If we take Belgium and Switzerland and put it together, land size-wise, Niger State is bigger than it. Now, I'm coming back to that same question I asked you. Niger State, I'm using this as an example. In the last 3 months, the governor there have stood up and told themselves the truth, that we can't be this blessed and be this poor. I'm using poor in capital letters. We can't be this blessed and be this poor. And they have started trying to do something in agriculture, to be specific. Can we start holding our state governors, our state people, and ourselves responsible and say, no, if we cannot grow our state internet generated revenue, if we cannot grow and get productive in our state, let the federal give more to who is productive than just handing out handouts. I called it free money the last time, and Mr. Sam was saying it's not free money. If it's only the monthly allocation you get from SOUQ that is sponsoring your budget, why give it? Which means you're not doing anything in the state.
Well, I heard a story from someone some years ago who told me when his father became a UBEC chairman in one of the states, and he said, some people gathered to ask him and said, what are you going to do to pull the state out of that tag of educational disadvantaged state? And I said, well, in the first place, in the first 1 year, he will ensure that every child that is of school age is going to be in school. And if there's anything that he will achieve, that state will not be in the list of educationally disadvantaged states. In short, by the story he told me, he said he was still very young at that time, and his father was summoned by two religious figures who came and asked him and said, we heard you speaking on TV today that you want to remove our state from educationally disadvantaged states. And how are you going out to take care of us? And the man asked, how does that concern you? I am appointed as UBEC chairman to ensure that our children go to school. And they say, of course, there's money that comes to us from education, being educationally disadvantaged. Now, the day I was telling this story in one occasion, and somebody who was also in the education ministry in another state said to me, oh, that the first time they made him say he traveled to Abuja, the first thing they told him, he said the same story. That some people benefit the fact that they are educationally disadvantaged. And what do? They continue to perpetuate that disadvantage so that they can continue to get benefit, maybe from donor agencies and the rest of it. You see, maybe that's where the policy issue need to come in. And because there are parameters for dividing or sharing allocations that come to states. And those parameters are the one that you see either the size, your population, land size, and the rest of it, and the number of local government determine and come together to determine what you get from SOUQ allocation. But the money, the money that goes actually to SOUQ allocation and the royalty that government gets from the natural resources and the tax collectible at the center.
Okay.
But here, there is also a component of that, which is, for example, the value-added tax, which is collected. Now, federal government only help in sharing the value-added tax. That's why you see on every occasion, Lagos State is always far ahead of every state in terms of what they receive from
value-added
tax, followed by Port Harcourt, River State.
Now, so aside this, we are generalizing on everything. If you are not productive, the federal government in any of the country should not fund your laziness.
No, government is not funding laziness. That is why you see.
If government decides to say, okay, let's divide money coming from natural resources among the states in whatever percentage.
No. The principle of fairness, we see, yes, good. The components
when we say principle of fairness, it is also the same thing. We are still funding laziness.
No. That is not what it is. Let me tell you what happens here. Take, for example, Lagos is about a 51 billion naira monthly economy. You can't take that away from them. You can't take that to Ogun State. You can't take that to Kwara State. You can't take that to Kogi State. That's resident in Lagos State. And so what Lagos can do, what wealth Lagos can share, other states cannot. Because they are not really...
Those particular states that are not... Okay, they might not be as populous as Lagos State. They don't have the industrialization like Lagos State, but they have the landmass. They have opportunities to stand up and get counted. Why are they not being counted?
Yeah, but this is what states are doing. Now, when you look at the indices of internally generated revenue for states that became progressive, you saw that how Kaduna State under El-Rufai catapulted. Edo State under Adams Oshomole started to explore other possible options. I remember that it was actually under Adams Oshomole that land registration started in Edo State, which was, of course, a way for the state government to make money. Now, there were a lot of activities around the markets, the building of stores and the rest of it, where government could have local shops and get more money. All these things were happening in Edo State, and that's why you also see that the IGI of Edo State has grown, even with this current governor. So you see, states are looking inward to see what more can we do to generate revenue. But unfortunately, which is the real challenge, is the fact that citizens of states are not holding their governments accountable for the inability of this government to transform their states. They hold the federal government accountable for misgovernment. So this is the challenge.
Okay. Now, on this particular challenge, I want to give you this breaking news. Our time is over. So, sir, we will continue this particular subject sometime, not today. And please, we want this same energy when we start that. I want to say thank you very much for being on SOUQ Pulse today. I'm always grateful. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure to be here,
now,
sir.
To everyone that was part of this show today, to the crew, to everyone, actually, thank you. To those that tuned in and part, I say thank you. Now, remember this. We are all about productivity. We say Africa needs to rise. We say, hey, no matter where you are, you should be able to put food on the table, save in the bank, get productive, employ somebody. Then together we can count. We can't do it from a place of rest. Let nobody deceive you. Miracle are the works of your hand that God will bless. So let no one deceive you. And for everyone that keeps looking forward to leaving the shores of Africa, that is not an issue. But wherever you are, still get productive. Never stop talking. Hold your leaders accountable, just like the doctor said. And remember, as you hold them accountable, also hold yourself accountable. SOUQ Pulse will be back tomorrow. We'll say thank you. My name is SOUQ, John Rogers SOUQ. Bye.
To have very distinguished personalities that will be coming forward to receive the awards as we proceed with tonight's celebration. The first category of awards will be displayed on the screen, and I'm going to read out the nominees. And then, after I've read out the nominees, I'm going to invite the presenter, and then the winner will be announced, and the award will be given. Ladies and gentlemen, this award is called the Timely Payment and Risk Management Awards. And this is the Bureau Compliance Excellence Award. And the nominees are the nominees are Union Bank, Standard Chartered, NIF Bank, Stanbic, IBTC. To present this award, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite and welcome Madam Yemisi Ransom Kuti. Please put your hands together for her. Madam Yemisi Ransom Kuti is going to be presenting this award at this time. The nominees are Union Bank, Standard Chartered, Zenith Bank, and Stanbic IBTC. Madam Yemisi Ransom is presenting the first award. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I will put our hands together for us. It's indeed very beautiful and amazing. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I need another pair of glasses. And the winner is...
Do we have a representative of Standard Chartered around? Please put your hands together for Standard Chartered. Thank you. The next award of tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is called the Highest Transaction Volume Award. The Highest Transaction Volume Award. The nominees are Internet, Money Point, Link Credit, and Grand Money. To present this award, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite and welcome Mr. Buka. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward to present the next award of the night. Can we celebrate him, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. Thank you.
The highest transaction volume award goes to Grand Money. Grand Money.
Can we put our hands together for Red Money, ladies and gentlemen? Congratulations to you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Congratulations to you, Red Money, the highest transaction volume award. Congratulations to you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Buka, for presenting that award. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be displayed on the screen right now. That is the data upload on time. Data upload on time. The nominees are This is a partnership award. Data upload on time. The nominees are
So you can just mark the shot.
Money Point, GT Code, the chairman Credit Core, as he comes forward to present this particular award. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward at this time to present the next award. And that is data upload. Insurance Alliance, Trans invite and welcome a beautiful lady that just won Miss Nigeria World. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Joy Raimi as she comes forward to present the next award of tonight. Please put your hands together for her. This is the current Miss Nigeria. Please put your hands together for her. Miss World Nigeria. Miss World Nigeria. Can you make some noise for her, ladies and gentlemen? She's presenting the next award of tonight. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to MTN. Miss World Nigeria presented this one. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Innovation Partnership Award celebrating maximum productivity. The next category for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the Value Award. The Value Partner Award. The Value Partner Award. And the nominees are ladies and gentlemen, to present this award, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite and welcome very, very respectfully a distinguished personality. Please put your hands. All right.
The winner, Value Partner Award, is Standing IBTC.
Thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can we put our hands together for our presenter? Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Ibo Musayi for presenting that award. My music is going to be presenting this award. Okay. Chizo, my music. All right, in the absence of Chizo, can we have Lillian Adigbola? Please put your hands together for Lillian Adigbola. Lillian Adigbola. Okay. Thank you very much. Together for Lapo, ladies and gentlemen. Lapo. Congratulations to Lapo. Congratulations, they're coming. Somebody's coming from Lapo. World famous DJ Chela. Thank you so much for doing so well. Amazing stuff. Thank you. Congratulations to Lapo. Thank you very much, my congratulations to Lapo. For those that think that they may win the raffle draw tonight, please scan the QR code so that you can be a part of this. You are going to win 100,000 naira tonight. And aside that, you also stand the chance to get a VIP access ticket to ACE. That's going to be happening on the 14th of November. So please try to register and be a part of this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next category of awards for tonight. Fastest growing transaction is the name of the category. Fastest growing transaction. Fastest growing transaction. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the fastest growing transaction award is Money Point. Please put your hands together for Money Point. Congratulations to Money Point. Money Point, please can we have you come forward? All right. Money Point. Do we have a representative for Money Point? Oh, somebody's coming from Money Point. Please put your hands together for them. Congratulations to you. The fastest growing transaction. The fastest growing transaction. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Money Point? Congratulations to you. Thank you. All right.
I'm Dr. Jamila Sharif Ayedun, the Managing Director and CEO of Credit Registry. Credit Registry, we're a few things to different people, right? For our lenders, we help them get their money back. So whenever you are in the business of giving loans or doing some type of financial transaction with someone else, we want to make sure that that is a trusted interaction, a trusted transaction. And so we help our lenders be able to do that and have confidence in doing that because they'll be able to get their money back. And so that's one thing. For consumers, we give them the opportunity to be able to open many doors and become able to build a higher and better standard of living. That's very important, and it comes by them being able to be accountable. When someone trusts you and they've given you access to whether it's money or whether it's an opportunity for a job or things like that, and when you do things and you do it in the right manner, you'll be able to open many doors because that behavior is what we capture. And when they say your reputation precedes you, that's what Credit Registry is, where we help you build a financial reputation. So that way you can be able to open doors, whether it's here, locally in Nigeria, or anywhere else around the world. Your reputation will precede you because you've done right by it.
Well, my name is Honorable John Omotola Suarez from Etiosa. Well, I'm a CEO of Wolfing Brooks Nigeria Limited. It's a finance house. I own a finance house. As far as I know, and as far as I'm concerned, Credit Registry have been able to do well in the last 25 years. So basically what they are doing, they were busy helping the economy of Nigeria by setting up a standard credit reference agency. And what that means is when you are able to get on credit reference agency, it means you can have access to funding. You can have access to, so the lender will be able to trust you more if you are able to build your own personal credit history with them. They will sell you to the lenders. And if you're a businessman, whatever business you do, you can be able to get support. So that's what this is about. And then I say a huge success to them. Congratulations to what they're trying to do. And I'm proud of the project as well. So I pray by God's grace, this goes well. We are going to, in the next 5 years, this is the plan. We want to help minimum of 40% of families out of poverty. This is our game. And this is what we're doing. And we will do it.
My name is Oyeyinka Oyekon. I am the head HNI and corporates for Cowrywise Financial Technologies Limited. So the common factor is the fact that they can ascertain the credibility of a client before they advance them a facility. So that's a common denominator for the commercial banks that are traditional and the so-called fintechs that are coming to the market. Essentially, they are offering the same products, but they are utilizing different platforms to advance the products to the clients. That's all the services, as it were. Thank you very much. So the impacts, and I'm speaking from personal experience because I was a banker myself, is the credibility of the clients you're advancing a facility or a credit to. It's very important to know that a cornerstone in advancing credit is character. and the character is the ability to repay loans. It's very important. So if you know that a client has a history of not repaying facility, it's a red flag. You understand? And God willing, CBN has said that okay, if a client has a red flag with any of the credit bureaus, you shouldn't actually advise them loans. So it's a very good platform to know the credibility and the character of a client.
My name is Sheye Olurotimi. I'm the founder of MSME Africa. So I would say we are partners. Like I said, I'm the founder of MSME Africa, which means that I run a community of small business owners. And a lot of them, if you ask them what their problems are, they tell you funding. And of course, there's no way you can access funding if your credit report is bad. And so because of that, we partner with Credit Registry and other members of the Credit Bureau of Nigeria to work with SMEs in the area of helping them to have good credit rating and also to obtain their credit report. So that's the relationship that we have with them.
My name is Shima Eze, Training and Development Officer with Credit Registry. So Credit Registry is, we call it the Epic Nation. We are the foremost credit bureau in Nigeria. And today is just a celebration of our culture, those that have helped in shaping the tapestry of where we are today. So it's a celebration of the companies, the brands that have contributed to our collective success. So I'm just here to rejoice with Credit Registry, basically.
drop makes a hole in a stone, not by force, but by consistent dripping. Nothing describes this woman more apt than her indomitable and consistent drive for excellence. Born Bilikisu Abiodun Moturayo Omobalanle Adekola on December 24, 1962, into the family of Alhaji Abdulmoshood Adekola, the first grandson of the first Alhaji in the city of Ibadan, and a Cameroonian mother, Mrs. Hannah Aduke Adekola, in the ancient city of Ibadan, Oyo State. While her mother was still pregnant with her, left for England to further his education. And while she was pretty much young, her mother left the country to go join her husband, to return while she was 8 years. Meanwhile, she was left to be cared for by her grandmother. She was registered in a private boarding primary school at the age of 4.
My parents had me. My father went off to England to go to school before I was born. He left my mother pregnant with me. My mother had me, and before I was a year old, left to join her husband in England, and I was left with my grandmother. I grew up with my grandmother before my parents came back like 8 years after. Spent my first, from at age 4 or 5, I was sent into a boarding nursery school. I lived in boarding school at a very early age because my parents wanted to protect me from becoming a local Ibadan girl.
And she usually attributes these to her early independence and wisdom. Omo Agbanimi, some of her friends sometimes poke fun at her wisdom, which is way beyond her age.
I was raised by my grandmother, so I'm a bit of an old woman in my brain, in how I think, as my friends say.
Her foray into business started at a very young age at her grandmother's shop where she sells salt. Little did she know that this was going to stand her in good stead in life.
My first exposure to business was my grandmother's little shop where she sold salt. And I used to love to sit behind her little kiosk and help her to sell the salt. But who knew I was being trained for business in my future?
While at secondary school, she participated in the literary debating group, excelling in it, which made her consider a career in law, though that didn't last. Also, it is worthy of note that Ibukun Awoshika could hold her own in athletics, earning her the nickname Rabbit because she could really run.
As an athlete, if you want to run, and I used to be fast, they used to call me the Rabbit.
Unsure of what career path she was going to settle for, she considered becoming many things at one point or the other of her life. After secondary school, she thought of becoming a medical doctor, but she couldn't stand the sight of a cadaver, so she let go of that idea. Later on, architecture was another fancy that caught her attention. Similarly, she also considered becoming a chartered accountant, finally only see she could work in a bank.
I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Then I found out that they work with real dead bodies. I changed my mind very quickly. I then thought, you know what? I'd like to be an architect. I was good in sciences and had a problem if parents sentence you to science when you're good at both. So I ended up in Ife to study chemistry. By the end of my first year, I realized how much I hated chemistry. I could pass it, but I didn't love it. So then I thought, you know, I'd make a good lawyer. I debated throughout school. I used to represent my school in school's debate. So everybody knows that I can win an argument. So I gave it everything trying to change to law. I used to go and sit outside the door of the Dean of Law. And then one day the man said, come, what do you want? I want to change to law. Is that why you've been sitting outside of my office? Yes, sir. Okay, if I only take one person from another department next year, it will be you.
After the completion of her undergraduate degree at the University of Ife, she went for the compulsory one-year National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, in Kano State, where she worked as an audit trainee at Akintola Williams & Co., which later became Deloitte.
For youth service, I did everything to make sure they sent me to an accounting firm. They first sent me to a Muslim school to go and teach. That was easy to solve. I just wore a dress off my shoulder. I went to report. I was immediately rejected. Once they rejected me, I went back to the posting room and waited there for days until they sent me to Akintola Williams & Co.
Although she was later given full employment after a service year, she felt becoming an accountant wasn't a thing.
You would have thought that having gone through all that trouble, accounting would be the love of my life. When I got there, within the 1 year of my youth service, I realized how boring accounting is to me. Because they had all the processes somebody else had thought about before. All I had to do was open old dusty files from company to company without imagination or initiative. I'm a very restless human being. That was not going to work. So I finished the work. I did well. They offered me permanent employment, but I said, thank you, but no thank you. Why? Because at that moment, I had come to a realization that that was not the vision for my life.
After returning home, she joined Alibert Nigeria Limited, a furniture company, as showroom manager. In a word, only to kill time. She only stayed for 3.5 months. She left to begin a furniture manufacturing company called Quibis Limited in 1989, just months before her 26th birthday. The company later grew into SOUQ Chair Center Limited, following a venture merger with SOUQ SA and Guarantee Trust Bank in 2004.
But the first job I could find 1 week after was in a furniture company. So I went there to kill time. My kill time project has resulted in 30 years of investment of my life in building a manufacturing group in furniture. So it was never the plan of my life. So some of you will accidentally find your purpose.
One could only wonder what had led her not only to compete, but to thrive in a male-dominated terrain. With over 30 years in business, Ibukun Awoshika is a woman to reckon with, encouraging more women to participate in the business terrain. Her passion to see the girl child not just to be educated, but much more to learn to own our own value and trade with it when there is need for it. Her lifelong ambition is to see herself die empty.
My biggest ambition in life is to die empty. Totally empty. That no talents, no giftings, no opportunities, nothing that I was born to do, that I have the capacity to do, that I do not do.
Following her remarkable achievements, she's been conferred with different doctorates, including one in business,